Hi there, it's Black Bright and I'm broadcasting out of the UK and welcome to my channel. Am I Black Bright today? No, I'm Dark Shades. Yeah, Dark Shades. I wanted to talk about living together and the reasons why people live together and whether or not it's a good idea to live together, whether we live together just because it's something you're meant to do, and if you get married, do you have to live together? I mean, who sets the rules? Why is it so important for people to live together 24/7? I think it should be changed. I think that people can still love each other, they can still support each other, but they don't have to live together 24/7 unless, of course, there's some financial benefit. If there's some financial benefit by two people living together and decreasing each outgoing. But when you think about the way things are going today, it's not really beneficial anymore. Well, I don't think so. I don't think it's beneficial to live with somebody because what happens is that not only one person normally gets more benefit from living together than the other, and it's normally the male, because normally the female, unless she's met somebody who's really mucking in and good at kind of supporting and helping around the house, unless you've got somebody who's like that and who's contributing financially as well as contributing in other ways, then what is the benefit of living together? Sometimes some people live together, and I think it really is. I think it had a lot to do with in the past of pooling resources, helping things to be made easier on the other person. But more recently, with people not being in a position to support, to help, and not even in the frame of mind to do that, how does that leave people who live together and can't get away from each other? I mean, I'm the type of person, I don't mind spending some time with my partner. I think if I lived with someone, I would need to have a larger house and where I would have some space to chill, to reflect, to have some quiet time. And he probably wants the same. And I'm sure most people want that space. Most people would like that time to themselves. And that's why before the lockdown, you found a lot of married men would go to the pub, would go and play darts, would go out with their mates because they needed that space away from the wife. The wife was also pleased to have that space because it gave her time, maybe a little time to speak to her friends, a little time that she had to do her hair while the man was out of the house. She could probably do the washing or the ironing, whatever it is she wanted to do. Read, you know, meet her friends. But it does seem to me that when people live together, it's dependent on who decides to give space to the other person. Now, if a woman relies on getting the space when her man or her spouse goes to the pub every Friday night, that means she's dependent on Friday nights to plan to get her space. Whereas, what happens if she wants space? Can she say to her, well, I guess we're in modern times. I guess she could say to her partner, look, I'm going out with my mates or I'm going up the road or whatever. But I just think that, a lot of people who live together are quite traditional. And I guess that is why I'm speaking the way I am. We are dealing with quite traditional couples who live together and who live as a couple, and they've just grown to live in a way that's normal. It's just normal, isn't it? But how do you feel living together? Really? Do you find it confining? I mean, I cannot imagine, like I said, I cannot imagine having somebody around me 24/7. I just cannot imagine it. I'd have to have my own time Whether it's days, it could be days, it wouldn't be more than a couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 days in a week. I would need that time to re-energize, to refuel, to think, to feel inspired, to do stuff. When people live together, how do they refuel? Especially if you have partners who are demanding. Sometimes you're in relationships where the partner is so demanding. And sometimes when they go out or they go out to work, you're like, oh, thank God. And I'm not talking about just male, I'm talking about either, whether it's male or female. And that is why during the lockdown, so many partners, there's been so many divorces and breakups and domestic abuse, because all of a sudden people realize they can't get out. They can't get that space that they're used to. And I think it's really important for people to have space. Even if it's space in their own home, you need somewhere where you can go and recharge. When you feel like it, not when it's convenient for the other person, not on the other person's agenda, not when that other person decides, oh, they're going to go out or they're going to do this, and you think, oh, thank God they've gone out, I'm going to get some space. No, you should be able to select the time you need space. This might be controversial, but I just think it's healthy to have space. But because we live in a world where people either don't trust each other, oh, you're going to go away for 3 days, what are you doing? Who are you going? Are you seeing someone else? Am I not enough? Don't you want to be with me? Some people are like that. Some people just want to be with somebody. I don't know whether it's ownership. I don't know if it's control. I don't know whether it's that they just need to be around someone. I mean, you do get people who don't want any space. You get people who don't mind being together 24/7. What about people who work together? I mean, you've got that couple on the TV who present the show. I mean, not only do they live together, they work together. So obviously, it could have something to do with star signs. I mean, air signs, they definitely need space, and I'm an air sign. So it might have something to do with space. I mean, my air sign, the fact, and that maybe people, don't need that space. But I just thought I'd put it out there, whether or not you feel as though living together in today's world works for you. Do you and how you benefit from it? Supposing, especially if you're not getting that support. I mean, some people married for support, and they married for, while the children were young. And, everything's going hunky-dory, and they're going through the, the honeymoon phase. And, everything's going well. But what happens when the kids are grown and, the person isn't so attentive, isn't so supportive, is just lounging around or whatever? What then? What happens when you find yourself having to do everything? Cleaning up, picking up after someone. I mean, you don't mind doing it occasionally, but when you find that it's a habit and you're just picking up after someone, and regardless of how many times you tell them, nothing changes. And so you find that for your own peace of mind, you do it. How does that benefit you? How does that make you feel? Do you enjoy that? Or is it just having somebody around that's important? A lot of people, they don't want to be alone just in case they break their bloody neck. They want somebody to be in the house. It's got nothing to do with you. It's got nothing to do with how important you are to them. A lot of times it's just convenience. If I've got somebody in the house, they can look after me. If I've got somebody in the house, they can contribute to the bills. If I've got somebody in the house, they can help me do that, or they can help me do this. But supposing those things, you don't get those things, what happens then? And you're stuck with somebody who's not really contributing, who's a pain in the arse, who's got no kind of conversation. And, you're kind of thinking, bloody hell, is this what I signed up for? Just because you love someone. I'd like to think I could love someone, but still have my own sense of space and autonomy. Is that so wrong? I don't know. So, um, some people, they like to live with somebody, but they've got somewhere else to live. It shows a lack of commitment. They either, if things go wrong, they either have their flat to go to, or they have their mother to go to, or they have a family relative to go to. And it's a form of, yeah, I want to live with you and I can live with you, but just in case I've got this backup plan. That's not commitment. And then you kind of feel that that person is using you, don't you? You kind of think, okay, so if they're with me, but then they've got a backup plan, they're not really committed to me. And that's how sometimes, you find a lot of men who born in the UK, not all of them, but some born in the UK, their backup plan is their mum. And that's why they're so devastated when their mums pass. So, and then the woman who somehow is supposed to feel grateful that she's got someone living with her. I mean, I've never quite got that because there's no benefits really. You're just a kind of a handmaiden. Oh, but it's true. You are. All you're doing is serving your man just because you love him. No, no, it needs to be equal. And like I said, if you've got somebody who you can actually benefit from by them living with you, then that's totally different. You do have some relationships where you actually benefit in lots of ways through communication, through attention, through support. They're helping you to do stuff, then that's totally different. But for me personally, if I lived with somebody, I would really have to benefit. I can't live with somebody where I don't benefit. I don't think it's worth it. I really don't think it's worth it. And that might sound selfish, but hey, you might not like me anymore. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. And I mean, yes, it is vulnerable living together and putting all your eggs in one basket and making that commitment that the two of you are going to stay together in sickness and in health. And you risk vulnerability by doing that. And maybe I'm just afraid to be vulnerable. Maybe I don't want to risk that vulnerability. Who knows? But all I'm saying is, I don't think it's worth it if I ain't going to benefit. That's all I'm saying.